Okay, here's another rule. Before you get too far along, get feedback. Do not stay in the closet. And I don't mean showing it to your family and friends. You can show it to your family and friends, but they really can't and shouldn't tell you the truth necessarily at all times. They have to live with you, and they love you, and hopefully, and they may be really prejudiced one way or another. Who knows? They may really give you some negative feedback or too positive or something. But what you need to get either through a writer's group or a reader's group or a class, or as I said earlier, this legion, this new profession of freelance editors, of whom I'm one, actually, particularly in fiction, because my day job, we don't publish fiction. You need to get some professional feedback. It can be a couple of hours consultation, it can be a complete developmental edit, but the earlier you seek feedback, the better. I always feel that it's like medicine. Early intervention is really crucial for a writer to get. Find out if you're making any sense of your concept, your outline, your basic ideas, your characters, your story, whatever you're working on. Get feedback on it early on, where you can still correct it, where you can still change directions or embellish or subtract or develop in some way that you learn by showing it to somebody whose opinion you respect. Now it's your book, you don't have to do everything they say. I think there's a session working with an editor tomorrow. Andy Ross is the moderator, I think I'm on it, and some other people. An editor is a helping professional. Editor is not the boss. You are the boss. That's always true. Don't ever compromise your true sense of your intuition, your mission, your belief in this book. But listen and take what sounds right, and discard what doesn't. So that's a pretty good rule. Pretty good. Here's another one. It sort of comes out of that, which is expect to rewrite. Expect to rewrite. We said that before. You've heard it before. You've got to rewrite and rewrite and rewrite. So the next one after that, I don't know how many we're up to here, but is to be patient with yourself. Now, a lot of people are in a big hurry. We talked about this yesterday, particularly for something that seems timely, but never compromise the craft and art of your book in order to rush it out quickly. Never do that, because it just won't work and it won't sell, and you won't have a success. Now, in terms of things that seem like they have to get out right away, maybe they do. I've done instant books. When John Lennon died, we had a book out at Bantam in 6 days. This was before modern technology. It was in 1980. So a book was almost as like a magazine article in that instance. It was like journalism. But nowadays it takes longer to write a book. And if you're in a big hurry and you rush something out, A, it's not good. Secondly, you can wait. You can be patient. For example, I'm sure there are a lot of books about to come out about Tahiti. And though there may be some good ones, but it will probably take a year or two to really sort through what happened, why it happened, and how it happened, and what the real long-term impact is, and what the long-term solution might be, and what this really does for Haiti. And we have a lot of dreams and hopes at this point that this will be a turning point for Haiti. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But there'll be what I would call, after that first generation of news-oriented books, there will be a subsequent generation of more thoughtful, analytical books about Haiti. Similarly, there were, during the Bush administration, a lot of very successful best-selling books that took Bush apart, and rightly so. I apologize to all the but what we're going to see now, there's been a bit of a lull now that he's gone, but I think in a few years you're going to start to see, there may be even one or two emerging now, of the people who were in his administration coming out from behind and writing a little more thoughtful, serious books about what happened, and then historical books looking back in 20, 30, 40, 50 years about what happened. Just like Franklin Delano Roosevelt is now getting a lot of, there's a lot of great books written now about the Roosevelt administration, particularly with Obama, which reminds a lot of people of Roosevelt, and there are some similarities and a lot of differences. So don't be in a hurry. Be patient, get feedback, and be tough on yourself. I mean, there's no immediate gratification. I look back upon some of the books, even The Bluest Eye and Fear and Loathing, and I wish I could have edited them a little bit more. Man-Child in the Promised Land is one that I wish I could have edited a lot more. But it succeeded, you know, and it's got a life of its own. And who am I to argue with history? It still sells 25,000 copies a month, and that's pretty darn good. That's mostly because it's been adopted for school use and Black Studies and so forth. But it's a good book. It could have been a better book. All of Hunter's stuff could have been better if I only could have kept him awake. Here's the last rule, and then we'll move on. I see. It's only, I've got 11:40, right? We have until 12? Okay.
11:45, but you can play with...
I'll play with that, yeah. The last thing is, and I feel like this is such an obvious thing that maybe you read it, is to buy books and read books. And I mean buy because I always buy books, but then you're putting yourself in the reader's shoes. How do you decide to buy a book? It's a real commitment if you have to pay 30 bucks or even 15. It's real money. And I know that we all, no matter how wealthy we are, we try to be careful about what we spend. So you really ought to go through the exercise of deciding to buy a book in order to understand as a writer what the reader has to do to buy your book. And they have to look at it. They may just read the first few pages. They may skip around and they go to the end. It won't ultimately be that advertisement or any kind of hype like that, or that necessarily even that TV show. But it will be what you decide to do in the bookstores. You know, even if you're going with the intention of buying the book, but many people are just going to browse. Why are you buying this book? Putting your money down is a really important thing, and then reading the book and seeing if you were right or if you were misled or if you were happy with it. That's an experience as a writer that you need to have as frequently as possible. So, okay, let me make sure I've covered everything here before we start going to the question phase.